Hello. It is 3 a.m. presently, so you'll have to forgive me, but for my own sanity, I am not going to be having any background music, so sorry. Arccephaly, good tax in a province. Oh, this is nice. Got a free lab, death gems, blood slaves. The problem with, like, this may be the worst part of Luck 3 is it's still a benefit, right, to get free infrastructure, but it's in a totally useless province to have it in. Like, okay, he gets a lion tribe, witch doctor, so what? Arccephaly's got that already. There's nothing here to work with, you know. He has forts in the area, but like on this province, it doesn't do anything. Here, a temple is always nice. A temple just, you know, is helpful in general. Nah, yeah. He's building a lot of infrastructure, building a palisade, a fortress. He's building a palisade down here. He's one turn away from building a palisade down here, and he is making a lab on this turn. Okay, so this makes sense. He's gonna finish that at the same time. That's a good call. But this is a lot of infrastructure. I bet he's not recruiting very much. Just hoplites there. Can't afford a mage. Nothing here. Yeah, he's really breaking the bank with all these forts. Now, this is not to say that infrastructure is an inherently bad thing. Infrastructure, I think, is great. It really adds to a nation's power, but there comes a point where your income is just not high enough to support the empire you're trying to create here. Like, if he's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forts, I mean, just this palisade alone has enough resources to afford, what is that, like 6 hoplites? So that's like 80 gold worth of hoplites, and then another 135 mystic, basically 200 gold worth of stuff per fort. And that's just a palisade, you know. In his cap, he can make a lot more. There's a lot more resources in recruitment. So I mean, maybe it's just because he's spending everything on infrastructure already, but this seems sort of insane. He equipped his prophet with this protection equipment, black steel full set, which is cool. He's very protected now, and indies will do chip damage to this guy, which is neat. But at the same time, this guy's your prophet. You don't really want him fighting and killing. You know, I mean, like, he has good stats right now because he's in your dominion. But if he were to leave, then his strength would, you know, drain, and he would be a lot less effective. I mean, it's all right. If you wanted to make, like, a thug with Arccephaly, it's not from these commanders. You know, it's not from these guys. These people are not going to. They're just not good. Like, their stats are decent, a little, you know, above average, but they're not mages. You know, they have no magic ability. A much better thug would actually be this guy, which seems kind of retarded because his stats, like, just on, like, okay, first off, he's like a disgusting old man. His stats are terrible. His strength sucks. His HP's low, but he's a mage. He can hold your bless. Water is one of the critical mage paths for thugging, and the other one is air. Air gives you mirror image, mist form, flight, and water's giving you quicken self. Another great path would be earth, because earth lets you have stone skin or iron skin, both those critical for thugging. Luck, too, is also a great one, because you can cast personal luck on yourself and astral shield. So, I mean, his base stats really do suck, like they really are trash, but he can cast spells that enable him, like Quicken Self, Stone Skin, you know, all the ones I just mentioned, to make himself a lot better than this dude with his spear, right? You know, this old man, if he gets his ethereal random, or if he gets his astral random, then he can become ethereal at where is it? Yeah, alteration 4, level 4, body ethereal. Can't be like, you know, non-magic weapons do nothing usually. Crazy. Like, it doesn't matter how good this dude is with his shield. The other guy is just invincible to non-magic attacks mostly. So that's just a small note on thugging. Like, this armor would be better suited for that guy, is what I mean to say. Otherwise, looks like Archaecephaly isn't doing much. He PD dumped in this province. Just stupid. No reason to do this. This is just a bunch of gold tied up. I think he did it this turn, even. Yeah, look. 400 gold, just deleted. Just like that. Gone. Instantly. Removed from, like, you can't touch this gold anymore. It's effectively dead. One thug, one Chinese man thug, you know, ethereal random with a firebrand and a vine shield kills all of this for free. No losses. He kills everything by himself. PD dumping just doesn't work. Especially not in random provinces, especially preemptively. Preemptively, this sucks. The best thing about a PD dump is you can surprise someone with it and catch them off guard and suddenly bring up a lot of troops where previously you had none. This is going to get scouted out, and everyone's going to realize, okay, don't go in Witherland because the dude dumped 400, 500 gold here. And this will never pay for itself. This will never, ever pay for itself. Never, ever. Like, even crappy indie units can pay for themselves if they help take provinces. Even militia, even heavy infantry, they can be useful. PD never, never pays for itself. It's always like a surprise trick that you can pull out of your toolbox. That's not to say it's useless, because of course it's not useless. It's very useful in the right circumstances. The amount of PD Archaecephaly's put in his provinces is just way overkill. This random province doesn't need 20 PD. Who's going to hit this province? Ulm? Ulm is not like a stealthy nation. Ulm are big dumb Germans. If you see them on the mountains coming for you, you'll know. You'll see it well in advance. And then you PD dump because then you trick them. They didn't know you had PD there. Because you put PD there, Ulm, being a smart player, is going to scout it out and see, oh, the local province defense here is extremely well organized. Guess I'll just go over here where it's not extremely well organized and just kill these lion tribe guys for free. And this thing's just totally useless. On forts can be a different story because those have to be pinged generally. Like, those have to get taken down, and fortress PD is generally superior to indie PD. Like, here you're getting your hoplites, so that's good. But I'm digressing here. Nothing about this research seems noteworthy. This all seems pretty reasonable. What's Evocation 2 getting him? Oh, he gets a lot of stuff at Evo 2. He gets rain, that could be nice. A bunch of fire stuff's cool. Yeah, it's all fine. I don't think Web is very good, but he could hypothetically do this. It's kind of just like a worse version of Earth Meld, I guess. Anyway, Alteration 2, maybe for his Masters of the Way, like to thug them out. That would be my thinking anyway. This for thug stuff, and then Thaumaturgy 3. You get a lot of good stuff as an astral nation going down Thaumaturgy. Thaumaturgy is kind of like the astral magic school. Of course, there's many, many, many other things there, mostly non-astral stuff, right? But here you get some really iconic astral spells like Soul Slay, right? Or Mind Burn, or Communion, or Teleport. And then you get some really wacky stuff later, like Enslave Mind, or Master Enslave. This is a fun spell. Of course, there's lots of other good stuff, too. Yeah, some game-winning spells, too. Cast this as an Air Nation. That's how you win. Just start pumping out 20 air gems a turn. Anyway, I think it's never a bad idea to go down Thaumaturgy if you have Astral, because it's really always giving you access to better and better spells that will win you battles like Soul Slay. The only reason I could say that it would be bad is if he's planning on getting into an engagement with Agartha. It's not going to be helpful against statues. Just not going to be useful at all. Astral, that is. Anyway, we've talked about Archacephaly for 10 minutes. So Ulm finally went and took a province this turn with his big Doomsday army. So he's got a lot of sappers here. Interesting. The sappers lift up their pickaxes when they're shooting their crossbows. And so he's got a lot of mages here. The enemy army, you know, it's to anyone else this would be intimidating, but Ulmites, and you'll see here when he casts Legions of Steel, like, look at how tanky these things are. 26 protection going up against an 18 damage lance strike. Like, this will kill a human. It's not gonna kill an Ulmite. If he gets lucky, it'll hurt him. But then, oh no, what is this? What are the Smiths doing? Oh god, and the crossbowmen too, firing in. Ulm is getting a beautiful crossfire here. His men are just being torn to pieces by his own mages and his own archers, his own crossbowmen. And just for good measure, they start burning up at the end too. This guy's bleeding out. Oh, okay, he tanks it at 3 HP, but he does get diseased. So, yeah, 2 kills by the enemy, 10 Ulmite deaths. Seems pretty appropriate to me. This is exactly why I would never make crossbowmen, because they're just too good. They're the best things for killing Ulmites. Like, you're not... Maybe against Agarthan statues, you'd want these? Well, I don't know. It says halves the effect of the opponent's armor, and statues don't have armor. They just have natural protection. So I don't know if this actually works that way. Anyway, this may be a bit of a... Hopefully Ulm watches this battle and takes it as a warning sign. Because that's sort of a... You know, you can see the... In a bigger battle, you could probably tell what the effects would be. It looks like he is changing up his script a bit. He has all of his crossbowmen and sappers on guard commander, which I think is a good idea. Like, you don't really want these guys firing, although this guy's, for some reason, this guy's firing. I guess he just forgot to make these guys bodyguards. But otherwise, he has a, yeah, just basically the same formation as before, hopefully with less friendly fire now. Looks like he is just pushing straight out, trying to take this main road, which I think is very smart. Ulmites are slow, and connecting the pieces of this road together will give him a lot of maneuverability in his country. He finished his first Dwarven Hammer, but looks like he's not building anything with it. I don't know if I would agree with that. There's a lot of good stuff you could be making. Just right off the top of my head, Fire in a Jar, just a fantastic item you can make for 1 gem, and it gives you a fire gem in every battle that it's participating in. Super broken value for Ulm. Like, printing, like, making these is like printing money. You know, fire gems go burr. This thing is also cool if you can get it for 1 earth gem. Good on spies. This too, 1 astral pearl. Could be nice. It's like luck for 1 gem. Pretty fantastic. He's taking Daddy's Boy and some mages too, and walking out to 47. Agartha and Ulm seem to be pretty friendly in this game up to now, so I have to wonder what he's doing. Presumably he's just going to take 38, which seems reasonable to me. Agartha hasn't really even tried to take this province yet. Otherwise, he's building a citadel with Bob the Builder. Mike Haddock is over here making a castle and site searching with his god. Still make a palisade down here. What happened to Trajan? Oh, he's on the march. In fact, he's going with this army. I wonder why he's bringing a mason with his army. Is it perhaps because of the siege strength? Is he interested in sieging down someone's castle with this army? If he is, compare this to Marignon's army, which had a siege strength of like 70. This thing has a siege strength of 236. Here, let's move along. Well, check his research first. Straight to construction 4. He's going right for very powerful magical items. There are so many good magical items that you get at construction 4 and 5. I'm not going to even bother telling them now. We'll just get there when we get there. So this turn, there was a battle in Fascia. There was a few assassination attempts that I suppose we could watch. This is the mage that Fascia just made this turn. She tries to cast personal or mind burn, but it got interrupted. If she casted it, it was a 50-50, roughly, if the assassin died. So she's just a little unlucky for Fascia. But this is against his god, who the bodyguards did not show up. The assassin waited them out. So he cast Flying Shield, totally useless. About to cast Far Strike. just fortunately hits the assassin just one square away from being shanked and being killed. If anything, this is I would hope that's a very good reason for Marignon to start kitting out his god, like giving his god some items for protection. Anyway, here this is Marignon's army, a bunch of Knights of the Chalice, mercenaries, some crossbowmen in the back. Not fighting anything noteworthy of Fascia's, just some PD. You can see the Knights are on an attack rear command. They immediately go and execute the commanders and leaderless the army routes. We've seen this song and dance many times before. He takes very, very minimal losses, wiping up 25 PD on Fascia's capital. Very well played by Marignon. However, he did lose a province to Fascia over here in 136. This is his mage. He never put PD here, so he has no idea what spawned in this province. Big mistake. Always put 1 PD in every province that you possibly can. Well, okay, I should say this was a small mistake because the units that went there are not impressive. But if they were big, if this was an army, then you have no idea what just walked there. The game doesn't tell you. So it can be an issue. Anyway, what is he doing? He is taking a couple of the masons that he made, these architects. Much like the All Knights, they are very good at sieging down forts, although not nearly as good. They're half as effective as Olmish masons, for some reason. And he's walking them up here to 120. I guess that's as far as he can go. And he is taking this army. He's actually, what is he doing with the siege? He's moving his sieging units off of Fascia, which may be a smart idea. I guess he's not confident that he can beat this army over here. Which could be wise. Mind Burn is quite deleterious to these units. Their magic resistance isn't very good, and if his army got Mind Burned, he would need a lot of chaff. Something that I think could help Fascia or Marignon out is if he does get to Conjuration 4 sooner rather than later, he can start making these fire drakes, and it's kind of pricey on the fire gems, but much like ogres, they're just big blobs of HP. So the mind-burning mages will prioritize them over things with less HP, you know, things more valuable that you don't want killed. Because humans, like just generic humans, mind-burn mages aren't going to target these guys. If there's something more powerful they can go for, they will always go for that. They won't go for, like, them. But he has his prophet down here, his new prophet, with a bunch of guys, and mages scripted to cast Lesser Fire Elemental. These things are not impressive, but They can go over walls. They are ethereal, so that's big. There's not many things in Facia's army that do magic damage. Really, it's the Orichalcum Guard, but they're all on guard commander duty, so they won't be relevant on the front line. And the mages themselves, what the mages can do. So I'm curious how the fire elementals will do. I think they'll be a big boon to his army, but 2 mages with 7 fire gems. At this point, you're kind of all in. I would consider more. I'd consider more mages with more fire gems. Looks like he's building a lab over here in Bogaton. I like it. With this, he can get more of his witch hunters out, which is exactly what he needs. Marignon is so far behind on research. He is bottom of the barrel for gem income. He is site searching here though, so that's good. He'll get that fountain site. I hope he'll get that fire fountain site. Mainly because it's just cool, you know. Those like big, you know, some magic sites are not, you know, they don't have the luster, the power that the thrones do, but they can still be worth going to war over, depending on what the magic sites are. Like the one that produces lore masters, for example, the random 3 mages, like as in random every single path of magic in the whole game, those may be worth going to war over, because, you know, it gives you access to everything. Otherwise, it looks like Marignon's really out of steam here. He's, yeah, no knights this turn, no paladins, all crossbowmen, and just 1 wizard. He is out of money, and he is spending a lot on a lab, so if he wasn't, granted he'd be doing better. He is taking a nice chunk of change from Facia, 133 gold from taking this capital, and he is leaving a couple stealthy guys to sit on the cap. I think that's very smart. And just in case Facia would not break the siege next turn, he is going to retain that 133 gold income. Definitely smart play on his part, leaving these guys here. Always want to leave one guy sieging, especially the more generic and indie that guy can be, the better. That holds true, by the way, for when you're storming a fort. Always have 1 guy waiting outside. Always have 1 guy waiting outside, because especially if you don't know what's inside, if you didn't send someone in alone to check, then you're really, you know, it's kind of a gamble if you actually win. Anything else of note this turn? He's still patrolling in this province. I guess he's really saving up the money. Although he is going to have a rude awakening next turn when the Olmites flood in to 48. I wonder if he will regret building a temple here. I know I would. If I was Ulm and I saw this, I would slurp that up. I mean, he could even walk into this farmland and blow it up. He doesn't even need to go over the bridge and risk getting PD dumped or risk bumping into a bunch of Knights of the Chalice. However, it appears the Knights of the Chalice, or at least... okay, let me back up. I'm thinking in my mind, but I'm not verbalizing what I'm thinking. Ulm and Marignon are exchanging harsh words. Supposedly, Archacephaly and Facia have convinced Ulm to get in the war to attack Marignon, and that is why Ulm is sending an army over here. And apparently Marignon is privy to this knowledge. So in that case, he must not believe it. He must believe Ulm is not actually doing that, and that it's just a bluff, because otherwise, why would you, this is like the southern defense, and you're vacating the region. So if Ulm really is trying to do that, this could be a disastrous move. Maybe it won't, I mean, Knights of the Chalice can move, especially on these roads. They can get a lot of distance. Anyway, let's go to Agartha's turn. So we got a message from Facia. You were warned not to come here, white boy. Now you've paid the price for your treachery. The Black Queens have but one offer to you. Terms are simple. You go back across your mountains and never return to this land. We await your acceptance. I believe the two players resolved their diplomatic issues out of the game. This is just Fascia cleaning up his province outside of his capital. Agartha is privy to the fact that Marignon is sieging Fascia. Two unexpected events. A local sect has flourished. Awful, really sucky event. And some of your magic pearls turned out to be fake. What an awful event. Ugh. And he did take out some unrest, and Fascia bought Raiders of the Silver Steppe. Looks like he's renamed all of his commanders to Imgur links. His god is site searching as expected, and he is trying to take some provinces over here. Let's look at the script. So it just has them in a big box, Legions of Steel, Strength of Giants. I think this is almost flawless. The only thing I would change is tell the guys to hold an attack, so that way they stick around and get the buffs without moving up first and getting out of the mage's range. This is a small enough army that it probably doesn't matter. Yeah, I figured he was doing the same thing on this army too. The only problem here is that the troglodytes will run forward and they'll get killed first. As usual, right? You know, I mean, they're just way faster, and they really need to be in the back, I think. But anyway, he's getting more statues, constantly getting statues. I love that. I think that's exactly what Agartha needs to be doing. Building a temple over here, great. He's working his way towards getting more mages. 3 mages a turn will be big. Site searching over here. Yeah, I mean, not much from Agartha, just trying to take out some indie provinces, which I think is exactly what he needs to be doing. He just needs to get filled out a little bit, because there's still a lot of unclaimed land that he can take to get himself back into the game, honestly. And I don't think it would be that hard. You know, I don't think he has to take that many more provinces. This one's worth 124 gold. This one's probably worth a lot. It's a farmland. This one here's worth 87. So he can definitely start to really rank up his income quickly once he just takes a handful of provinces. Anyway. Actually, let me check if Marignon is hiring any mercs, because he does like to do that. Oh my god, this is where all his money went. What the hell? This is just retarded. You've spent like... How much money has gone down the drain on these mercs? This is like 1,400 gold on mercenaries. Remember Ulm's event that gave him 2,000 gold? Well, this is like the inverse of that. 600 gold on these mercs. Who do you think is going to pay this much for these? Who do you think is paying 600 gold? Is anyone even trying for like random crossbowmen? Archacephaly sure doesn't care. Ulm doesn't, you know. Ulm has crossbowmen on a stick. Agartha's way too poor, so that just leaves Fascia. Okay, fair enough. Fascia is trying to buy the crossbowmen, but consider Fascia's putting 123 gold. You already own the mercenaries, so your gold counts for double. You're putting effectively 1,200 gold on these guys. Nobody is going to outbid that ever. Which, if that's the plan, then you have succeeded. But simultaneously, recall the graphs that I did for the end of year 1 that showed the income discrepancy. You know, as calculating for losses, you know, with Marignon and Fascia compared, was very similar. It's plays like this, you know, with Marignon spending 600 gold, not Fascia, that is going to make Marignon lose. That is how he loses his advantage. He's been taking battles. The battle here in Griffin Spires was a triumphant victory for him. That was exactly the type of battle he needed to take. That was a great win. Perfect for him. He's deleted his gains from that and more from hiring mercs alone. Like, I don't want to say he's soft inting, because he's not soft inting, he's hard inting. Like, he's like actually killing himself, not just a little bit, but crushing his ability to combat Fascia in this war just from hiring mercs at such a ridiculous price. And Marignon, or Fascia's trying to break the siege, it looks like. Which he must be very confident that he could win this battle. If Marignon had more troops, like, you know, troops over here or over here to move up and reinforce this army, like if these knights weren't at home, which they've been sitting at home for way too long, he's had them able to be moved for a long time. If they were like up here and they reinforced on this army, and maybe he had 40 knights, I think Fascia would lose this and be dead. I think he'd be out of the game. Which is not to say that Fascia's army, I think, is weak. It just doesn't really have a lot of communion masters. Like, I'm looking at it here, he's got this guy casting air shield, mind burn 3 times, that's good. Stone skin, solid. He's got 1 slave, just mind burns. His big woman's casting mirror image and mind burns. Air shield, again, it's casting air shield twice. And then Twist Fate's just useless. Lightning bolt, whatever, mind burn. His gods even here. Personal regeneration is big. Personal luck is also big. Flying shield. Wasn't there already? I guess not. I guess it was air shield. And bark skin, alright. I mean, this is good. Kind of sketchy against Marignon with their fire attacks. But he doesn't have that much power, right? He's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mages casting mind burn. It's a lot. No doubt about it. But his front line isn't very big. It's pretty pathetic, honestly. Just a lot of Colossi light infantry. You know, good Marignon communion of 10 witch hunters, all in a communion, maybe like 2, 4 slaves, and then the other 6 or 8 casting fireball. You know, if he rushed down evocation 3, and then he brought up all these knights, all 40 of them, I think this army would get smashed badly, and that would basically be game over for Fascia. Instead, however, I think Fascia will be fine, because Marignon has no mage support, and he has not that many knights. However, Marignon, playing smart, vacating from the siege to this province. Friendly movement always happens first before hostile movement, so I think he'll be good. And breaking sieges definitely happens last. But outside of that, he is not making a lab here, still building a palisade down here, trying for this province. Yeah, I mean, not much else to say here. I suppose the noteworthy thing is the gold, the income discrepancy between Fascia and Agartha income is not very much. It's pretty comparable. The worst thing that's happened to Fascia this turn is his gem income is as bad as Marignon's, because his only lab is being sieged, so he can't draw a line back to a friendly lab, so he loses all of his gem income for a turn. Which, hey, that's absolutely a win. It's just Fascia doesn't have many gems in the first place. Like, he doesn't have that many sites anymore. He has a Sun Ridge over here, which is great. He lost the Painted Cave over here. He's got his Mirror Wall Palace. This is good. That's all I see. I'm clicking around. Oh, okay, he's got the Kelp C2. This is good. This is, wow. This is a great one. 2 nature, 1 water, and then a Sea Stag. I'm not familiar with the Sea Stag unit, but nature mages are very easy to come by. I would 100% give a random nature mage. I mean, look, let's just click around. Look, there we go. I found one instantly. Lion Tribe Witch Doctor. Just give this guy Shambler skin armor, walk him in, and have him do this for the rest of the game. After like 20 turns, even if the Sea Stag isn't a particularly good unit, it's just free spawn, practically. Good siege chaff. Even the worst unit can help with a siege. So I suppose that's all for this turn. No big battles, presumably, that will occur this turn. However, war between Ulm and Marignon is perhaps looming on the horizon. So we'll see next time.